Sharon, I called a real estate agent 5 minutes ago. He deals with apartments in Japan. He said he'd send an email with some photos. That way we can choose which apartment we like the best.
Don't rush me, Peter. You know I haven't decided.
I know. We've talked about this a lot. But doesn't the idea of leaving appeal to you? I mean, just think of it. A new country, a new life together, new experiences. You know, I'm really enthusiastic about this opportunity. It's not every day you have a chance like this.
Well, I've wanted to make changes in my life for a long time, but these changes seem so overwhelming. There, I said it. I've never been to Asia, and I'm frightened of going there to live.
But I told you that Alice has been there. She went to Japan in 1995. She says it's a fascinating country. It's antique and modern at the same time. It's full of interesting traditions and new innovations.
I know. I've read a number of books. Last night, I finished reading Japan in the 21st century. I admit, I'm curious about it all.
You see, just remember, you were afraid when we came to London, but you've adjusted well. We've been here a year and a half, and you haven't once complained. I take that back. You complained once last week.
Come on, Peter, stop joking around. You're right, I've made great friends. That's why I'm so hesitant to go.
I know. I'm also sad at the idea of leaving everyone. Hey, Jack. How long have you been in here?
A couple of minutes. Excuse me, I didn't mean to spy. But you were so involved in your discussion.
So you've heard that she still hasn't decided, even if she's going to decide soon. In fact, we were just talking about which apartment to choose.
Well, don't rush it, Peter. Decisions about major changes take time.
So whose side are you on? I need to get going. I took my watch to be repaired 2 weeks ago, and I still haven't picked it up. Sooner or later, they're going to put it up for sale. Bye. Jack, I'm leaving her in your hands. Please try and convince her.
Hello again and welcome back to English Today, your live TV program where you can learn the English language. That last episode, I'm sure Jack can manage to convince Sharon to go to Japan. What do you think? We will see how that evolves. Now let's go back to the present perfect. Remember that we have learned so far that we use the present perfect with genie, just, ever, already, never, and yet. Well, I want to give you 2 more acronyms to help you understand when you use the present perfect. And the first one is this: flot. Now, you see at the top we have 4. 4 is a time word. And we use 4 for a length of time. What's length? Length means a duration of time. So if you want to say 10 years, for example, you would say, I have lived in France for 10 years. For 10 years, a duration of time. Or, for example, 5 minutes. I have worked here for 5 minutes. Okay, so 4 we use for a length or a duration of time. That's flot. F-L-O-T, flot. Now, let's look at the second one, spot. Now, spot starts with the word since. Since is a word that we use when we're talking about an exact point of time. So, let me give you an example. If I say 5 o'clock, that is an exact point of time. So you could say, I have been here since 5 o'clock. Or for a year, you can say 1973, since 1973. So these two words are very important, for and since. Flot, spot. For a length of time, and since for a point of time. Now let's do a little exercise to help you with that. I will say something like 2 days. You must decide whether to use for or whether to use since. Okay? So, 2 days. Is it a length of time or a point in time? Length. So, for 2 days. I have been here for 2 days. Another example. Thursday. Thursday is a point of time, so since Thursday. Great. For a long time. A long time. Exactly, that is a duration, it's a length, so it's for. I gave you the answer. Another one. December. Good, it's a point, so since December. Very good. This one. Weeks. Very good. 4 weeks. Okay, fine. Let's think of another one. 2001. Okay, that's a point of time, so since 2001. Those are some examples. Let's go to the screen now, and I'll show them to you in a written form. That way you can memorize them and fix them, okay? So, flot and spot. There we have it. For a length of time, flot. So this is to express duration. The examples, I've lived here for 10 years. Then, he's known her for ages. Now, for ages means for a long time, okay? Then we had spot, which is since, and we use it for a point of time. The examples, she's worked there since the 7th of June. Point of time, that's a date. And they've been here since 1978, a year. Okay, so flot and spot. Now, the interesting thing is that when we ask questions about that, we use the word how long. For example, how long have you been here? And we use the present perfect. Look at the screen. We say, how long have you lived in Cambridge? And the answer would be, I've lived in Cambridge for 10 years or since 2001. You see? Now, remember that how long is different to how many times. How many times is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How long is a period of time? Okay? Another example. How long has he worked there? Answers. He's worked there for 10 years, or he's worked there since 1973. All right? Now, just look at the examples we practiced. We have for 2 days, for ages, 4 weeks, for a long time, duration, then since Friday, since 5 o'clock, since 2001, since I was young, and since December. Great. Okay, so there we have it. We have genie, just, ever, already, never, yet. We have flot and spot, which is for and since. This is when we use the present perfect. Great. Now, let's go back and see if Jack has managed to convince Sharon to go to Japan. Okay? Bye.
You can't leave. Now that we finally found each other.
Stop it, Jack. I'm so confused. Don't you start.
I was thinking, you'll be all alone in a foreign country. You won't know anyone. Peter will be at rehearsals all day. At least here you have us. I will always be here for you.
Yes, I know that.
Oh, and did you know that women can't go out alone in Japan?
Jack, that only happens in the Middle East. Stop it now. The truth is, I love new experiences. Remember when I moved to London 2 years ago? I've loved every minute of it.
But that's not what you told Peter.
I said it on purpose. You know I want him to slow down.
I heard what you said 5 minutes ago. You were sincere. You weren't joking.
You misunderstood, Jack. I'm not afraid of leaving. I've lived in a lot of different places in my life. I've done a lot of things. I've worked as a babysitter, as a tour guide, as a waitress. I'm sure I'll find something in Japan.
I know you all too well, Sharon. You haven't ever really enjoyed any of those jobs. You still haven't found what you want to do in life.
Stop it, Jack. I'm glad you promised Peter to convince me to go.
I didn't promise him anything. So, what have you decided? Are you going to move?
I don't know. I think I will. Yes. I'm going to move.
If you've already decided, why did you have a job interview yesterday afternoon?
Who told you that? Anne?
No. I haven't spoken to her for days.
So how did you find out?
It doesn't matter. So, you still haven't answered my question.
I don't have to answer to you, Jack.
Okay. I see you're angry. It just proves that I'm right.
Jack, sometimes you are so impossible. Have you ever considered that maybe it's the best thing for me?
And what about you, Sharon? Have you ever thought that you might be in love with somebody else? Listen, I refuse to give up.
Love is difficult, isn't it? I know something about that. But so is the simple past and the present perfect. And in fact, this is an important lesson because one of the most difficult things in the English language is to decide when to use the simple past and when to use the present perfect. I hear a lot of people making mistakes about this. When do we say, I went? And when do we say, I have gone? Well, remember, up until now, I've tried to help you with these acronyms, you remember? Oilway and Genie. And I really do think they'll help you. Now, do you remember, Oilway was for the simple past. We use the simple past with on, in, last, when, ago, and yesterday. Okay? And we use the present perfect with just, ever, already, never, and yet. Be careful, there are two A's. This is already, this is ago. Okay, so be careful there. So when you are speaking English, you have to make these choices. What do I use, simple past or present perfect? And it depends on what time reference or time word you are using in the sentence. That is the most important thing, okay? Which one of these acronyms? Let me give you an example. We take a simple verb like I go. Now, if you want to use already in the sentence, what do we use? Do we use present perfect or simple past? Already is part of Genie, just, ever, already, never, yet. So you need the present perfect. And you say, I have already gone. Now, if you want to use last week, where is it? L, last, simple past. So you say, I went last week. Now, you try. I want to use just. Which one? Jeannie, just. So we say, I have just gone. Present perfect. Okay, next one. I want to use yet. Now be careful, there are two Y's. This one is yet, this one is yesterday. Be careful. So, yet is negative, do you remember? It's present perfect, and the yet is at the end of the sentence. So, I haven't gone yet. All right? That's more difficult. Yet, so that's an exception. Next one. When? When? Okay, simple past. For a question, very often, when did you go? Next one. Never. Right. I have never gone. Present perfect. Fabulous. 2 days ago. Now this is already, and that is ago. So, I went 2 days ago. Great, you're getting the hang of it. On. Yes, so I went on Friday, for example. Yesterday. I went yesterday. And the last one, in. Yeah, good. I went in June or in September. Fantastic. So that's it. Okay? When you are deciding whether to use the simple past or present perfect, think of the time words. And let's look at that on the screen just to remind you once more, because this is difficult. So, oil way is for specified time. On, in, last, when, ago, yesterday. I saw him on Friday. We went there in 1988. She came last week. When did you visit them? Question form. I visited them 2 weeks ago. I saw him yesterday. On, in, last, when, ago, yesterday. Then Jeannie for unspecified time, indefinite time, just, ever, already, never, yet. Examples, I have just seen him. Have you ever been to America? They've already eaten. He's never learnt. And have you met them yet? Okay, yet at the end. So please try and memorize these. Oil way, Jeannie, and think about it when you have to decide between simple past and present perfect. All right? Good luck. And I'll see you again soon. Bye.
Okay. Sharon, you remembered to buy the beer, right?
Of course I did. And you managed to bake the cake, right?
Not yet. I'm going to bake it this afternoon. I still need to get some chocolate. Actually, Jack offered to get some for me. He promised to bring some before lunch.
Sorry, but I can't help you with the cake. I have to take some tourists to visit the Tate Gallery.
Oh, don't worry about it. I'll have Jack to help me. He decided to stay home today to give me a hand. Just don't forget to tell Tom, David, Mary, and all the others.
Don't worry, Peter said he'd take care of it. I'm sure he's already got in touch with everybody by phone.
Great. Everything is going as planned. Oh, don't forget to buy the present.
Don't worry. How about getting an astrology book? She'd love that.
Absolutely. She loves reading those kinds of books.
I hope I can get it before I go to work. By the way, have you heard anything from Mr. Dubois?
But he told me he expected to come, but couldn't confirm. Well, you know how it is being so busy and everything. It's hard for him to give a definite answer one way or the other.
I imagine being a stage director is difficult. Alice would be so happy if he comes.
Yes, she will. Anyway, mum's the word. If you say anything, it won't be a surprise.
Hey everyone, what are you up to?
Oh, nothing important. Oh, I almost forgot. Happy birthday, Alice. So, what have you arranged to do this evening?
Well, I considered celebrating with you guys. I mean, if you want to.
Oh, I'm really sorry, but well, Jack has arranged to eat out this evening with his colleagues and he can't put it off now. And, well, I agreed to correct some reports.
Oh, I see. What about you, Sharon?
Oh, I'm terribly sorry, but I agreed to go to the theater with Peter, and he won't be finished rehearsing before midnight.
But I thought...
Well, I know we promised to have a party, but why don't we postpone it? It's just not possible today.
What a shame. I can't stand the thought of being all alone on my birthday.
Hello again. She really believed them, didn't she? Great actors. Now, in this lesson, I want to do something new, and it's related to gerunds and infinitives. In that last episode, our friends used some quite complicated sentences, which I want to look at with you now. Anne said, Jack offered to get some cake. Do you notice that there are two verbs together there? Jack offered to get some cake. Now, offered here is followed by an infinitive. That's one example. The next example is, she said, he promised to bring some before lunchtime. He promised to bring some. Promised is followed by an infinitive, promised to bring. Then Anne says, she loves reading. Loves reading. Now, love is followed by a gerund. Then Sharon says, yes, I imagine being a stage director is difficult. I imagine being. Gerund. So here we have offer, which is followed by an infinitive, promise, followed by an infinitive, love, followed by a gerund, and imagine, followed by a gerund. And you're probably thinking, so how do I learn these? Well, you have to learn them by heart, as we say. Yeah, there's no other choice. So let's go to the board now, and I will show you how it works. And unfortunately, like the simple past irregular verbs, it's all a question of memory. So, as we said, when you have a main verb followed by another verb, sometimes it's in the infinitive, sometimes in the gerund. Let's look at some examples. You managed to bake a cake. The verb manage is followed by an infinitive. Jack offered to get some. He promised to bring some. I have to take some tourists. Have to in the sense of obligation. What have you arranged to do? Arranged plus infinitive. I agreed to correct some reports. So there you see manage, offer, promise, have, arrange and agree are followed by the infinitive with to. Let's move on to the other examples where verbs are followed by the gerund. She loves reading. So love